Small businesses. They can be really fun to set up, but there's a whole multitude of struggles that come along with it, from marketing, trying to find a work-life balance, motivation, and much more. So in this video, I'm going to talk about that and maybe help you find some solutions to view it through a different lens. If you're new here, my name's Lee, and I started my brand Stickly in June of 2024 selling stickers, clay charms, and button pins. Oftentimes what we see when it comes to starting a small business is a very glorified version of it. That's why I want to shed light and some transparency on the reality of it all. The first small business struggle I have is finding a work-life balance. They say when you start a small business, it kind of becomes your life, and I think that's very true. A lot of my free time is taken up by my small business, whether it's coming up with new ideas, making new products, trying to market. And as a lot of you may already know, I have a lot of other hobbies. I like to play video games, I like to read, I like to make other types of art like crochet or painting, but oftentimes I tend to neglect my hobbies just because I'm putting so much into my small business. When I do have free time, I struggle to let loose and actually do what I want because I feel like I need to have gotten one thing done that day to get myself forward, which isn't bad inherently, but you should be able to enjoy the things you like without always having your small business on the forefront of your mind. I have this thing that I call monk mode, which just consists of me going closed doors. I'm working on my business for hours on end and not really tending to the other things that I care about. One thing I will say though is not having a work-life balance is probably one of the easiest ways to burn out and the fastest ways to burn out. Yes, having a small business can definitely be all-encompassing, and there is beauty in that, but you have to realize that other things matter too. One potential solution that I have for you if you're struggling with something similar is to maybe set aside pockets of your day where you hold yourself accountable to do other things you like, non-business related. Everyone needs a rest day or a couple of rest days when it comes to their business. I know it can be hard to adopt this mindset because you want to consistently grow your business as much as you can whenever you can, but take care of yourself too and your other hobbies. The second small business struggle that I have is staying motivated. I know I post a lot of my products on here and other things related to my small business, but believe it or not, I rarely get sales. I haven't gotten a sale in months, and I only have one. Obviously, I am grateful for that, but it does make you kind of question whether what you're doing is sustainable or not. A lot of us small business owners promote our business through social media, and one thing I've had to learn is that follower count does not equal sales. Similar to what I said before, you see a very glorified version of what starting a small business really is. I remember when I was thinking about starting it for the first time, and I would see these YouTube videos with shipping labels being spit out by the second. And so little me thought, oh yeah, that's totally gonna be me, right? And to tell the truth, it's not. And that's okay. I think one thing you have to remember is that your journey is never gonna look like anybody else's. Because of this unrealistic standard that I held myself up to, it made me feel like I was doing so much for just a small amount of results. And when you do get results, you might struggle with imposter syndrome, even if you are grateful for what you have. If you struggle with this, one solution I want to propose is to try and celebrate your small wins. When we run a business or we have some other goal that we're working towards, we get so caught up in the end result. Try to accept and cherish the process. Focusing on the end result will surely make you discouraged. And I think this is because of the contrast between where you are and where you want to be. And it's such a big contrast that it makes you feel like you're not doing enough. So try setting more manageable and reasonable goals. Say, this week I want to get 1 follower, or this month I want to get 1 sale. This is a healthier way to view your business journey. And in the end, I think it makes you more of a grateful person. As a side note, there's this very goofy way that I like to stay motivated. If you guys know that meme of the guy mining for the diamonds, at the top he's like never stopping, and then at the bottom he's right there. He's about to strike diamonds, but he turns away and walks away. Even though it's meme material, I actually find a lot of value in that. And whenever I'm struggling, I literally look at that image and it helps me so much. So maybe you could find something that never fails to motivate you, and when you're going through a hard time, just look back on it and maybe it'll help you get your groove back. The third small business struggle that I have is content creation. A lot of us small business owners use social media as a backbone for our marketing, and that means trying to crack certain algorithms and figure out what works, and that's extremely stressful. There's a lot of pressure to keep coming up with new ideas and new content, and I think that can get really exhausting. If you use TikTok, I'm sure you're familiar with the thing that they often say, which is post 3 times a day to get followers and views and likes. But that's really difficult, especially with people with other responsibilities. Another thing I had to learn quite early is that the amount of passion and love and time that you put into editing a video does not always determine the reception that it's gonna get. There's no guarantee that it's gonna do well, but that doesn't mean that it's impossible. I saw this comment on TikTok once that said, "I like to view every TikTok as a lottery ticket." And I think that's a good way of viewing it because sometimes it really is a numbers game. And if you overwhelm the odds, you're for sure gonna get success eventually. But I know this also brings up the topic of comparison. You might wonder why other channels or accounts are able to grow so easily, but you can't. I totally know the feeling, and the best advice that I can give is to just keep going. One solution that I have overall for you is to maybe set aside a day where you batch produce your videos. Instead of making a new video every day, you can have one day where you make multiple and then post them throughout the week since they're already done. This tremendously reduces burnout. The key is to not overwhelm yourself with content creation. Bite-sized steps and goals are the best. Additionally, you can also find a day every week to just brainstorm ideas so that you aren't running out of them. The fourth small business struggle that I have is having a full-time job or some other responsibility that also consumes your time alongside your small business. So I currently work part-time and I go to school full-time. However, I have worked full-time before and worked on this business, and it is exhausting. Oftentimes we put our heart and soul into our business, and it's truly what we care about, but then we have to go somewhere that we probably dread going. During the summer, I had 9-hour shifts where I had to wake up at 4 in the morning to get there on time. By the time I got home, I was so exhausted. Putting time into my business was that much harder because so much of my time went to the job. It's honestly hard to know that you put so much love into something that actually fulfills you, but you have to go somewhere that doesn't fulfill you at all. But I actually like to see this as a way of motivating myself. I find it interesting how sometimes the hatred of doing something can be the biggest motivator to get yourself out of that situation. One solution that I have for you is if you are overextending yourself at work, try not to. This obviously doesn't mean slack off or not do your job, but set boundaries if you feel like you're being overworked. Your business is also important, so you should do things to optimize the time for that as well. If you're in a position to, maybe you could reduce the hours you have at work. And if that's not possible, especially if you have a family to provide for, just try to do one thing every day to get yourself closer to your dreams and goals. It doesn't matter how small it is either. For example, maybe you just want to jot down some ideas for something you want to make later on. One thing I've had to learn is that progress is progress. It's important to know that good things will come as long as you keep at it. Try to use your job as fuel to really move towards your goals. So those were 4 of my small business struggles. I hope that it helped somebody and maybe helped you see things through a different perspective. And please know, I sympathize with you. I'm right there with you because these are struggles that I have too. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. And if you have any other video suggestions that you'd like me to do, let me know that too. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.